U.S. President Donald Trump optimistic about reaching a deal with Iran within days, as Israel and Iran each announce a pause on airstrikes after escalation on Sunday. Mr. Trump insisting he is in the, quote, final throes of a deal.
We could have at least an idea by 1 or 2 days from now, but I think it's going well.
Both sides yesterday pledging to hold fire after a strong appeal from Mr. Trump. But Iran warned it would resume strikes if it sees Israel launch attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel also warning of a forceful response if Tehran should strike again. The Israeli defense minister already maintaining no halt to the campaign in Lebanon. The Lebanese state media reporting 8 people killed in Israeli strikes today on the southern city of Tyre. The attack coming after the IDF issued evacuation orders forcing residents to flee north. Nick Harper is reporting for CNN Live from Washington, D.C., and Blake Sifton standing by in Tel Aviv. Nick, we start with you. The U.S. president is a familiar story here, very upbeat on reaching a deal with Iran. Is there any reason this time we should also be upbeat?
Well, again, Wei-Su, we have that optimism without evidence. Donald Trump late on Monday, as we heard there, saying that negotiations are ongoing, that he thought they were going well, and also saying that he would have an idea about a possible deal in 1 or 2 days. And that was after he earlier posted on social media that final negotiations on peace are proceeding. Things should move quickly. Now, CNN here in the United States has totted up the number of times that Trump has expressed optimism. So the number of times that he said a deal is close or that Iran is desperate to cut a deal. Anytime he's made such comments on social media, in TV appearances, in interviews, during phone calls with reporters, and CNN got to the figure of 37 times. That's 37 times that the president has expressed optimism that has come to nothing, that he's promised a deal that has failed to materialise. It's almost as if the president is trying to will a deal into existence, to manifest it. Now, of course, each of the times that he says something positive about a possible deal, we see the markets move, share prices rise, Wall Street's indices move higher into positive territory. For the president, it is a marker of success. We know that he likes to reference the S&P 500. And of course, for shareholders, it's a nice little boost. Some critics have even questioned whether these positive pronouncements are deliberately timed to manipulate the markets. Now, that's not proven, but what is clear, after nearly 3 months of making these types of positive noises about a deal and about being close to a deal, there is still no deal. It's unclear if negotiations are even any closer to that deal. Have they managed to narrow many of the gaps in the opinions of the two sides, as the president claims? So for now, Wei-Su, we continue to wait and see, because there is simply no indicators that a deal is close, as the president has been promising.
I believe you just heard, Nick, that the likelihood of any deal, or rather less likely, if Israel and Iran start exchanging fire again, and we're seeing attacks, Lebanese state media pointing to attacks, Israeli attacks on Lebanon.
Good evening, Wei-Su. Well, the series of events that led to this escalation between Iran and Israel is very clear, and those dominoes are still lined up and could fall and trigger another escalation. It's understood that Hezbollah will likely continue to target Israeli soldiers occupying southern Lebanon. But Israel has made it very clear that if Hezbollah were to fire rockets or drones into Israeli territory, that would be a red line. Yesterday, Israel's defense minister said that if Hezbollah carried out attacks like that Israel would carry out airstrikes in Beirut's southern suburbs, as they did on Sunday afternoon. But bombing Beirut is a red line for Iran, and that's the reason they fired that initial barrage of missiles into northern Israel on Sunday night. And yesterday, when Iran announced that they were halting their attacks on Israel, they said that in the event of future aggression, as they called it, in Lebanon, they would carry out a much more harsh and devastating response. Now, today, the Israeli military has carried out airstrikes across southern Lebanon, including in the city of Tyre. and they carried out a mandatory evacuation order for the entire city of Tyre, including the Christian quarters, which had been spared from previous evacuation orders, and that's because they allege that Hezbollah fighters are taking refuge in that area of the city. Now, so far, these actions fall within the red lines that have been set by both sides, but people here in the region will be watching very closely to see if either side crosses those lines.
Well, thanks. Nick Harper there reporting for CNN from Washington, D.C., and Blake Sifton in Tel Aviv.